like high energy.
I don't need cardiovascular. I just need to be a weapon. I'm a lunatic.
You're not. It doesn't give you a diagnosis of lunacy. On the
I'm a
side.
fucking cyclone.
Yeah.
Don't bleep that. Don't bleep that.
Paul Olima,
How are you?
welcome to the energy equation optimized by Pure Sport.
I love that.
What a joy to have
I
you.
know. What a joy. I know. I heard it was The Rock or me, and you picked me. So I'm really
You say
happy.
that. We had a workshop. We said, who do you want on the podcast?
Mate, that's
You were
it.
right up there.
Mate, that's mental.
It's
Yeah,
great.
you've made it.
Because, and let me tell you why. It's because you look like high energy.
That's it.
You give off a
Give it
massive high energy vibe.
That's it.
You know.
But then the results are going to show.
Wow,
The results are going to tell everyone no energy there at all.
We're going to come to the results. The results give us a perspective on a couple of things. So,
Right.
of course, you've worn this funky monitor, which is going to give us some insights into your management of stress.
Yeah.
It's going to give us some insights into how well you sleep.
Yeah.
It's going to talk to your fitness, and it's going to give us insights on how you do keep that energy.
Okay.
But I know you as a high energy guy, and
Yeah.
actually, I could probably know you through a different number of circles because I've been involved in the fitness and well-being sector where you are a bit of a poster boy, and in some cases, actually a poster boy.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. But then in latter times, I've come to know you as a brilliant content creator
That's
who genuinely tickles me to my core
Great.
with your constant, take on the ludicrous
Stupidity of the internet.
the ludicrous nature of the internet.
It's wonderful.
So how are you, for those who don't know you, don't follow you, and I know that you've got 10 million followers across all
Across
platforms.
all
but
platforms,
phenomenal.
yeah.
What, how are you now describing yourself? Who is Paul
I
Olima?
say I make videos online. Somebody goes, what do you do for a living? I go, I make videos online. And then I just move on. Yeah, and they're like, oh, for what? And I go, oh, yeah, brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, I kind of stop it as soon as I can.
Get out of there.
Yeah, because that conversation could go on for ages, and I don't like people. No.
Well, that's interesting. I'm going to hold you to everything. I don't like people who's going in the pot here. But actually, you have such a sort of ascorbic, you see the ludicrousnous of everything.
Of the
So you
yeah.
must sit back and watch the world going,
It's
this is
horrible.
mad.
It's horrible every day because we have like the team that I have in my house. We get sent, I'd say, 1,000 videos a day. So
Wow.
they will go through them, and then they'll put stuff out, and we do reaction videos now. So
Yeah.
the stuff I see, I need a bleeding therapist. The stuff I've seen sometimes we can't film it because it's too bloody crazy. But people are putting out all sorts on the internet.
Yeah.
So I just like to jump into their videos. Do you know what I mean? What a job I have!
It's an incredible job.
I don't know.
But it has
Crazy.
huge value. And,
Yeah.
I suppose it's that blend of, it's comedy.
Yeah.
What's the line when you would say you're a comedian?
This is the one thing could you imagine? Oh God, I'll never call myself a comedian. I just like taking the piss.
Yeah.
And I've been taking the piss since I was in primary school. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of just taking the piss, but now getting a few quid for it. That's what I mean. I don't know. The teachers at school like, Paul, you're going to play sports, or you'll be nothing. I was taking the piss, and now I get to do it for a job. It's absolutely mental.
But you did take
mental.
that sporting. I mean, again,
Yeah.
there'll be some people listening to this who haven't seen you.
Oh yeah.
Let me visually describe you if you're
Go
comfortable
for
with
it,
that.
man. Black suits, just say that.
Well, I think I've signed something that says I legally can't say black
Okay,
Zeus.
all right, grand, yeah, no worries.
It's got to be that's got to be the greatest self-proclaimed nickname. Black Zeus.
Man, I've been saying it for years.
It's like I said to someone, Paul Olima, and then I said Black Zeus, and they're like, you can't call him Black Zeus. I was like, he calls himself Black Zeus.
Yeah, nobody's actually ever called me it. I just like to call myself it, make myself feel better. But yeah.
And again, someone again might be listening to this and go, that sounds like a deep, Dublin
No,
accent.
I'm black as they come. No, let me tell you, I'm Nigerian, but I was made in Dublin. I like to say.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And that sporting pedigree, so
Yeah.
when you see you, 6'3", You know, we'll talk about body composition a little bit later on, but you are an extraordinary physique, Paul. You know, I say that as a man to man.
Thank you very
magnificent
much.
specimen.
Thank you very much.
And it's no surprise then you leaned into sport. It would have come naturally to you. And you did football and rugby.
Yeah. When I was 6 foot tall playing football when I was 13, and they were all tiny, so it was easier to play football back then. But yeah, then I came over to England on trials. I went to West Ham, Bristol Rovers, Scunthorpe United, you know, all that.
Yes.
And I ended up playing football for Dagenham and Redbridge in League Two. Reserves, Barnet reserves, and then I played conference for Grays Athletic, and you know, I started Premier League, and I ended up in a conference. I was just dropping, I was like, maybe I'm not that good, but I thought I was going to be playing for Ireland, like, you know, learned how to run the vein, learned how, you know, oh mate, as soon as I moved to England, I was like, okay, I'll be playing for Ireland soon, so, you know, make sure I know the national anthem, you know, like I did everything, but I just kept on dropping leagues because there is a fitness element of football which I didn't understand, and people always think, oh, you have to be good at football. I know some of the most average technical footballers that are just fit, and have made it. If you are able to run, like, it's cross country, like, you know, football is cross country. I cannot explain it more. If you are fit enough to run around and just have a little bit of technique, you'll be fine.
And from your perspective, was that lack of that ability the limiting factor?
Yeah,
because of effort or because of you reached your ceiling?
First 10 minutes of the game, I was whopper. And then I'm walking with my hands on my hips for the next 80 minutes. But yeah, first 10 minutes, I'll win all my headers, I'll hold the ball up, and then it just went. And I hate running.
That's so interesting.
And walking for 30 minutes with a monitor.
Well, you say that. Paul's begging for forgiveness here, listeners, because I gave him a monitor to wear to measure his fitness and his sleep and his stress. And I said, all I need from you is a 30-minute walk.
When will I be walking for 30 minutes?
Well, that's also part of energy. So we're going to come to the monitor sooner rather than later. But this, you know, what's so interesting, again, you had this professional sportsman background, and those are high levels. You know, it's no mistake. This is professional football, professional sports.
Yeah.
You then translated into the fitness world, and we're a big figure across the fitness world, but partly which was led by Physique, and you got you got a bulletproof physique.
This is it. I think it was I started playing rugby after, and I went to a team called Esher, National 1, and I was playing like A-League for Harlequins, which I thought like it was great because I shouldn't be here. But then, so when I was doing the two of them, I was also got a strength and conditioning coach, and he was working with me loads. But I've been in the gym since I was 14 lifting, but not as good as I was when I was in Esher. So then going into the fitness industry that way was really easy. I think that was like 2017.
Yeah.
And it was just really easy because all I had to do was, I was lifting really heavy weights in the gym as well, like the big deadlifts and squats, and my bench press was never as big as I wanted it, but I was doing really well. So, and every day, all I had to do was post online as me lifting something heavy.
Wow.
And you'd have all the lads going, oh, beast, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was so, like, I didn't want to do that, but it was what you did on social media then. But I used to make the odd skit every now and again, and it just made me so much happier than having loads of lads going, do you know what I mean?
So interesting.
So then one day I was like, I'm never making a lifting video again. And just kept on making skits.
So good.
And here we are.
And I gobble these skits up. I love them.
No,
I mean, they're genuinely, and you're bringing in celebrities, and you're bringing in, I think you did one with Simon Cowell.
Simon Cowell, three of them.
Gold.
Gold. Man, it's mad.
So we've had an incredible journey from, again, athlete into two different sports, into content creator. Let's get into energy, because this is about, again, you give off, from the minute you walk into the high performance offices here, you give off a huge amount of energy. If you had to look at yourself and take a step back and say, Paul, rating his energy across how, again, vital you feel, how alive, but also how sharp your brain feels, how able you are to keep emotional relationships. If we said 100 is absolutely flying, and 0 is fatigued, lethargic, you haven't got that cognitive clarity. Taking an average, let's say last 6 weeks, what number would you give yourself out of 100?
78.
Nice and specific. I like it. Okay, good. And that's a brilliant number. And that's what I would have expected, because I think anything creative is very difficult without energy.
Yeah.
So for you to be able to imagine new concepts. So, and again, knowing your physical activity. So that's exciting. What I want to do is come back to you with what energy I saw captured with this quirky device you wore.
62.
Wow.
40.
So we've got your score of 78.
Yeah.
78, again, nice and specific. I don't think everyone's given me that precise a number before.
Always precise.
Yeah.
I do it with me missus. Sometimes she's like, do you want to go to the shop? I'm like, well, 57%. I always do it. And these numbers of how you feel, it's not, you know what I mean? Always.
I like it.
Always.
Well, we're going to get a number here.
Right, sorry, go.
Now, this monitor, you loved wearing it, you told me.
Yeah, it was the best fun. So much fun. Yeah.
So you wore it for
3.5.
Yeah.
I had to take it off at one point.
It comes off a little bit. So we got enough data to make an assumption.
Okay.
It's measuring how well you manage stress. So stress, it's not measuring how you think. It's not measuring whether you perceive stress. It's measuring over 24-hour periods how often your physiology is ready for stress. And conversely, how often it's not ready for stress and it's recharging energy. Okay. So our first sort of principle is you operate a bit like a battery. How often are you expending energy? How often are you recouping? And we'll put that under the bracket of stress. Okay. Second parameter is your sleep. So whether your sleep is good enough in quantity, but also the quality, whether it's restorative and works for you. And the third area is fitness, which is a combination of how much you move and something called VO2 max, which is a measurement of your cardiorespiratory fitness. Sweet. Now, if I was saying we're going to dive into stress, sleep, or fitness, which of those three do you think is most interesting or has got the
stress?
Oh, interesting. Why?
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm actually reading a book now, Clear Thinking. So it's just, I always read books to keep me away from being a lunatic. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd love, even when I was looking at the app, I was looking at the red. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, why am I? And how can I make it not so much? Do you know what I mean?
I love
what
that.
Can I do? So so stress for sure.
Really good. And for those again who haven't seen this device, when your body's ready for physiological stress, we see red on this graph. Yeah. When we see you physiologically relaxed, we see green on the graph.
Yeah, not a lot of green. But
Wow, interestingly. So on this one, so let's start with the overall score.
Okay,
so
cool.
Out of 100, you got
78. Oh.
You didn't get 78.
48.
48.
Jesus. I'm a lunatic.
You're not. It doesn't give you a diagnosis of lunacy, but what it does do is give us a few areas of interest. Now, I'm going to be very clear. There's 3 contributing scores to that 48, and would you believe the lowest of those 3 is fitness?
Okay, great.
So the 3 separate scores are across physical activity on the days you measured. We only scored 18, and that's dragged your score down. Now, that's largely because...
Exercise. Oh, so when I wasn't doing Jiu-Jitsu and Judo, I had to take off.
Exactly right. So we missed your... And I want to separate exercise from physical activity, so we'll come to that. Okay. So you did some serious exercise that we missed, but you didn't do much physical activity. So I'll come back to that in a moment, which is interesting. And again, we've only got a snapshot of the days we captured.
Yeah.
Your next best score was your sleep, which scored 53 out of 100.
That's nice.
And then actually your strongest area was stress and recovery, 74 out of 100.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely indeed. So the answer there, I suppose that dives into what does that look like? So when we look at stress and recovery, I suppose we're interested in a couple of things. Over each 24-hour cycle, how often did your body believe it had nothing to be ready for? How often did it believe it wasn't ready for some kind of threat? And we like people over a 24-hour cycle to spend about 35% restoring energy, recharging.
Yeah.
And you were about those numbers. In fact, on the first day you wore it, you had 50% of your day spent in recovery.
Great.
And the second day, you had 48%.
Amazing.
So you actually score quite well on the total volume of time you're spending recovering. A lot of that is during sleep, I'll come back to. But you do go into recovery during the day. So lots of times we find people, they start the day and they're switched on all day.
And they
go.
Yeah.
Not so with you. What's interesting with you is you're on the days we measured, you're always getting more recovery before lunch than you're getting afternoon and evening.
Okay, yeah. Before lunch is when we're editing videos or filming stuff. And then I go to Jiu-Jitsu. And then after Jiu-Jitsu, I have one job, and that's to get my daughter from school and relax. If I don't have my daughter that day, then I do nothing.
Interesting. And on the days here, did you have your daughter?
I had my daughter, I think the Monday, Tuesday, yes. Yeah. So yeah.
And interestingly there, you're not what we call hyper-stressed, but you're not physiologically relaxed in those afternoons and evenings.
No, because I've got to get her ready for bed and shit. Yeah, just little things like that. Yeah, maybe.
Which and again, we've got to be careful. Stress isn't bad.
No.
Stress is being alert. Your physiology is anticipating something.
Something's coming.
And so what we often find is when people have got young children, they sort of disable that ability to switch off because they're
Because they're
constantly
always
thinking
on.
about not just you, but now someone else. You're
Yeah,
always
yeah.
on. And, what we get is almost from lunchtime onwards, there's no green on your graph, really.
Okay.
And that also includes in the run up to sleep. So what I would normally like is that last sort of 90 minutes of the day, I'd see a green pool,
Okay.
who's doing his reading, who's doing his unwinding. And it's not that visible on the data. Do you have a sort of evening routine? Do you have a wind down? How do you switch off?
Yeah. So there's two ways that I go. If I'll always give myself 1 hour of TV before I sleep.
Nice.
So now I'm watching Boardwalk Empire. So again,
Yeah.
but yeah, I give myself one episode before I sleep. So every night before I go to bed, give myself one episode, then I can go to bed. But yeah, that's me wind down, and then beforehand it's me daughter. So I put her to bed. Like if I have my daughter, I'm doing like bath time, getting her clothes ready, whatever, and then put her to bed. And now I think these nights as well, she wasn't sleeping well, so I had to get up and go to her room quite a bit, and then let her sleep in my bed.
Okay, and that's really relevant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to show you that when I look at sleep in a minute.
Okay.
But that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I think in and again, Boardwalk Empire, other shows are available, but principally, what we've got to bear in mind is TV is a break from being switched on, but it isn't a trigger to switch off. It's
still on.
It's almost like a white noise.
Okay, right, yeah.
It's creating another. So if you look at TV, of course, you got the light. Boardwalk Empire, someone's probably being
shot,
and and you're and that really is a different type of stimulation.
Okay.
Now, the beauty of personalized data is when you're watching that TV, you probably feel less stressed because you're not thinking about anything else, but your physiology is still ready for the threat
of something coming out. Yeah. Okay.
And equally with do you have any sort of hard stop on technology, blue light, any of that stuff?
No, to be fair, all day long I look at videos, or I'm sending videos.
Yeah.
Because my Explore page is good, and I get sent quite a bit, so I'm always looking at videos and sending them in. We should do this video. We should do this video. So I'm on my phone. It's always there. I try and turn it off, but it's always there. There's never a time where I'm like, I'm not allowed. And sometimes I want to check how the videos are doing on all the platforms and stuff like that. So I'm always checking to pin a comment or just stupid shit. But that's
it's real.
I'm always checking the 4 apps, the main 4 apps. Like I have the team that look after most of them, but I always need to check what they've done for the day, if that makes sense, just to make sure it's right.
And that checking means, again, you're giving a signal to say, I've still got to be ready for something.
Yeah.
And in the evening, any sort of rituals, any supplements or anything you do to switch that physiology off?
No, and at night time, it's just time for bed. I get my daughter ready and then get ready for yourself to lie down and watch an episode or two of Boardwalk, and then that's it. Yeah,
and it's we're not going to create. You're 78 out of 100, right?
Yeah.
That's how you feel. I think if you're looking there, you're saying, look, is there a way I can build more pre-sleep rituals around that detachment from all of those, those connections you have, which are unrelenting. Detachment from the light, detachment from the stimulus, and the fact you're a great reader.
Listen, audible.
Perfect. Again, great. But that might be something that gets you a little bit more recovery, but also then you'll see when we talk about sleep, gets you into deeper cycles of sleep a little quicker.
Yeah.
So again, we're not here to solve a problem because there's no problem. But if I was looking at that data and saying what might be relevant would be how do I get more recovery early evening, particularly with routines and rituals that aren't technology based and tough when you're tied to tech.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it's me. It's everything. It's me everything, isn't it? Checking on that phone.
And again, you're not designed for that. So at some point there needs to be some form of detachment.
Yeah.
The other bit there is it's not clear when you're eating. So if we think of when you're red is the physiology of stress and being ready, and green is resting and digesting, that doesn't show me that you're sitting and eating sort of French style, slowly. Are you more of a fueler than
I Deliveroo. So morning times is like you get in your electrolytes and I was lion's mane, but I have to stop. It's giving me headaches.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
but
weird.
you do the electrolytes?
I get I've got cluster headaches. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
So I used to get them every year, like 28 days. I'm having a bout with them again, but it's always a trigger when I take a supplement that my body doesn't want. So now I'm like fucking lion's mane, and I'm starting to get headaches all the time. It's a nightmare. But yeah, so yeah, in the mornings it's like a breakfast. It's a bowl of cereal. Then it's a prep for everybody upstairs or something like that at around 11 o'clock, or something that I need to fuel myself. Food for me is fuel, so I can go to judo, jiu-jitsu. After I finish judo, jiu-jitsu, protein shake in, and then get home for another meal because my body is going to need that meal. Isn't it? Food's not really like I'll always order from Megas, but I look at calories, and the more calories something has, the better it is. I don't look at the nutrients.
So, and that's so interesting on two levels. And the first level being, I had the pleasure of taking your top off at the beginning of the which felt very, so, it's a warm introduction. And,
Fake podcast.
I genuinely think that's terrible. I genuinely think that this whole thing's not a ruse or a trick. You're so lean. I mean, your body composition, you look single digits in body fat. So you look like you're less than 10% body fat, which for a guy over 100 kilograms is extraordinary, right? And also, any guy, I'm allowed to reveal your age, am I?
Yeah, 38.
Yeah, that's in public domain, public figure now. 38. You wouldn't believe it. So 38-year-old, when 100 kilograms with probably less than 10% body fat, that is unreal. Yeah. But that also doesn't mean you're nourished. And it doesn't mean that you're being kind to yourself in terms of letting your body know this is time to digest food.
Yeah.
And, what's interesting there, particularly in the evening, is I can't see you going into a green state as you're, if you like, mindfully eating.
Yeah.
Now, again, you're 78 out of 100. You've got a body fat that I can only dream of, But the reality there is, if we're looking to take that 78 and push it to an 85, and that all these things play into how we feel, and of course, headaches are very rarely have a single cause or a single solution.
Yeah.
Really interesting with lion's mane, which is for me a brilliant supplement again for the brain.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And again, it's trying different modalities, but that's got some great evidence for brain health for sure. But I think principally here, the ability to think about conscious eating, less technology, and the unwind would be a key piece on the stress play.
Yeah, when I'm eating, I'm looking at my phone.
Exactly. And that's like us. That's like running and eating.
Yeah. Okay.
Physiologically, because if you're looking at the phone and it's stimulating, you've got blood in your muscles, you're not digesting. So that for me would be one area to focus on as a potential opportunity. It's a natural segue into sleep from here, because you have a massive training volume, you have a massive, again, energetic expenditure. How do you feel your sleep is? When you wake up, are you refreshed?
Most of the time, it matters as well. If my daughter's with me, sometimes I don't feel, because if my daughter calls me name, no matter what time it is at night, I'm always awake to hear it.
That's amazing.
There's never been a time where she's said my name and I haven't heard it. Like, I wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So I don't think I'm light. But sometimes I always say to myself, at least I'm lying down. I'm resting.
Amen.
So if I'm lying down, like, it's practically sleep. But I don't know when I get into deep sleep and stuff. But I'm always ready when she's in the house. When she's not in the house, I wake up at 4 or 5 every morning, usually, and then I'll go back to bed for another 3 hours. So it's kind of like bed at 11, 12, you're waking up at 4 or 5, and then you'll get back up at 7:45 or something like that. That's the way it usually works.
And what you described there, everyone's going to feel. Anyone who got a new pet, or anyone who has a new baby, the idea that you're sleeping with one eye on the world.
Yeah.
And we can sort of see that. The reason you scored, I think it was 54 out of 100 on your sleep, is twofold. Your volume is a little short. So you averaged less than 7 hours on one night you got 7, one night you got 6:40.
Okay.
UK average is about 6 hours 50. So you're
just above.
You're right in there. That's the only average thing about you. But within that, fundamentally the volume, it would like a little more, because you need to sleep really well to get all the benefits of sleep from less than 7 hours. So you need to go through cycles amazingly. What I can see, and it's probably more relevant on night 2, is the early part of the night, you can see that you're flicking between green and red.
Okay.
And the early part of the night, so the first 3-4 hours of sleep, is normally when we get most of our deep sleep. Deep sleep, is growth and repair. It's all. But you can't go to deep sleep, because that's when you're completely unconscious if you're listening for something.
Okay.
If you're consciously listening for a child crying out in the night, and if you hear someone crying and you wake up straight away, then you've disabled deep sleep.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a natural thing for any parent or anyone in that situation, and we almost have to accept there's periods of our life where that's going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
But things that won't help that will be, again, certainly being stimulated too close to going to sleep?
Boardwalk.
And boardwalk. Interestingly, there's not great data, but comedy.
Yeah.
You're laughing and is different to
looking at your phone. Yeah. Fair enough.
So if I was optimizing that sleep, I'd say, look, can we get a little more in terms of volume? But more importantly, what does that last hour before I go to sleep look like? And your daughter's a little older now. Could she come and get you? Are you holding on to a pattern of behavior that no longer exists?
Right, yeah. Instead of just go to bed and she can get up and come to my room if she needs me, kind of job.
Yeah.
She probably could, but I don't know.
And it's it's a beautiful trait. It's a protection thing. And any parent, if someone listening to this will relate to that entirely. But it's your richest source of sleep is at the moment not as rich as it could be.
Fair.
It could. Equally there, what I haven't captured is any relationship with caffeine or pre-workouts.
I don't drink any coffee. I pre-workout, yeah. If I'm in the gym, I'll take a pre-workout. When I gymmed,
yes,
I couldn't tell you. I think
would you ever do so pre-workout for people who don't know? It's normally quite caffeine centric.
Yeah, massively.
And would you take that if you're afternoon working out?
Yeah, I'll take that in the afternoon working out. I'll never do it before judo or jiu-jitsu, but I'll do it before a gym session. Every time I go to the gym, I'll take pre-workout before I lift. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe one of the 3 days there that I had it on, went to the gym.
Could be. So caffeine in there, caffeine's got this half-life of 5 hours. So 10 hours after you've had caffeine, it's still in there, disrupting our ability to go to deep sleep. So it could be a little bit of pre-workout.
Yeah, energy drinks as well. I do have the odd one.
If they've got caffeine in, then
definitely.
And you're a high energy guy, right? So I get why you would use them. It's one, again, let's not create a problem that wasn't there. You're 78, you're flying, you've got your creative juices are pumping. But if you can have a harder stop on caffeine earlier in the day, then we're cooking on gas from a deeper sleep perspective. So some of it might be perception, some of it might be boardwalk, some of it might be pre-workout. If we steal little wins across the patch, then we're in good shape.
Okay, grand, yeah, sweet.
Supplements can be a complete and utter waste of time if you're not leading a healthy and balanced lifestyle on top of it. Too many times I've seen people viewing supplements as a quick fix solution, trying to fix their sleep or their recovery or their performance. And in reality, you might as well be throwing your money away if you think that's going to work. It's in the name. Supplements are supplemental to your lifestyle choices. However, if you are leading a balanced lifestyle, adding in the right nutrients at the right time can absolutely optimize your life. Having spent the last 25 years in clinical practice around some of the highest functioning individuals on the planet, I've come to learn exactly what I'm looking for when choosing the right supplements. Pure Sport have curated an uncomplicated approach to this. No additives, no sugar, no fillers, just simple, effective, honest, and informed sport certified, which is crucial. And that's why I use them. That's why they're trusted by so many elite athletes and teams worldwide. If you're in it for the long run, click the link below and use the code EE10 for an exclusive 10% off. We should probably move to your area of greatest strength, but your lowest score.
Yeah.
Fitness. How dare this thing give you a fitness score of 18?
18. Oh.
Unheard of.
Unheard of. Yeah, sure. Look, if do you know what? I was thinking to myself, I had the thing on for my first jiu-jitsu session. I was like, oh, Jesus, this is going to be, you're probably going to think I'm having a heart attack. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think it did. It stayed on for a little bit.
It did.
Because of the red, and then I had to take off. It just kept on getting pulled off me when people were grabbing me. But yeah, it's not going to say, but very stressful. But I'm learning it's very calm now. If back in the day it was more stressful, but I'm pretty good at it now. So yeah, it's more calming. More, you can think more.
Really?
When you're trying to
during it or after it?
During. So I think and I'm probably not as fit as I was when I started doing jiu-jitsu. Well, I am. But I mean, like cardiovascularly. But it's now I can last more rounds because I used to be like trying to rip people around, but now it's more technique than kill. You know what I mean? So you save a lot more energy. Anyway, but yeah. I don't know.
Well, it's a phenomenon, and it's a shame because jiu-jitsu, again, most people will know it's a mixed martial art.
Yeah.
It's the bedrock of mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
But it is physically brutal. You know, we would have seen a hard training session.
Yeah.
So that's without doubt. We didn't capture that because the monitor didn't come on. So your score would be higher.
Yeah.
What it did show is that outside of training, you don't move that much.
That is true. I'm not gonna walk like if the shop's down the road, I'm not walking to the shop. If the shop's 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away, I'm driving to the shop.
Interesting.
I can't,
Why?
walking. I just don't get it.
But-
I just hate walking. I've just never walking. When I see people jogging, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you should be sprinting. Like, I understand if you're sprinting somewhere or a sport and you're taking it, but I just jogging around. It's just horrible.
I'm going to pitch you walking. I'm going to sell you walking.
Go on,
I'm
then.
going to sell you. What we've got. Two things.
Neat.
You neat, so neat, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So neat is this calories you burn.
Yeah.
You don't need to burn calories, Paul. You know,
Yeah.
like I say, people will buy your physique in a heartbeat.
Yeah, yeah.
Aesthetically, you're top of the tree.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. You know, everyone in a room with you is going to reflect on their own life choices because your physique's a joy.
Yeah, no worries.
That's different to the benefit of activity,
I know.
which is, and again, neat is a piece, but also when you walk, it's a massive part of reducing physiological stress. When you walk in nature, you get a double whammy for that, which is this concept of what we call biophilia. You also, when you walk, you'll see lots of people wearing continuous glucose monitors and
Yeah, I've
optimizing
seen
that.
them, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all very well optimizing your carbohydrate intake, but if you move post-meal, we have a completely different blood glucose response. So you get better glucose control, you get better circulation, you'll have a better poo. Paul, I haven't asked you about your poo.
Yeah.
We're on air.
Yeah.
But,
I'll tell you all about it. Don't worry.
Well, you're a good pooer?
Yeah, I am. I probably do 4 a day.
Well, wow,
Yeah,
professional.
Yeah, no, I am. Sometimes 2 and 2 before jiu-jitsu, 1 at jiu-jitsu. Like, I get them out. Like,
That's
you know.
good.
Yeah.
Well, again, 100 kilograms training lots.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have a lot of fuel. So before people think that that's their norm,
Normal.
they need to eat what
If
you
you're
eat.
not pooing 4 times a day, there's something wrong with you.
So that's good. So lots of people, again, but I'm selling walking. I'm still on the
of
walking
course,
side.
yeah.
And not even walking, just the being fit and training is slightly different to being active. And from an energy point of view, we get great energy from spacing activity through the day.
Yeah.
Now, again, you may not need that, but if I was trying to take that 78 and get it to a higher score, your 78 and my 48, then you having more steps in the day and more space dissipated. So we're not just feast or famine when it comes to exercise.
That's me.
Wow.
My whole life. Well, yeah, that's until, yeah. I keep on saying it. I started jiu-jitsu like 2.5 years ago. But before that, my heart rate was like 80 beats per minute because all I was doing was deadlifting.
Yeah.
And then I'd come home and I couldn't walk upstairs. And then I started doing that and I went down to like 54 beats per minute. So I was like, oh,
That's beautiful.
at least I've done something to my heart here. But but without that, just the walking bits, I was just like, I just don't get it. I can't get my head around it.
No, it's one, you haven't got an incentive to do it because
Yeah.
you're so fit and you feel good. So it's one way you'd put that in the bank and go, look, if I'm feeling lethargic, am I getting access to nature, regular movement?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the idea of spending hours feasting on content without movement, your physiology won't love you for that.
Okay.
And that will become an increasing potential challenge,
Okay.
but let's not create a problem that's not there. But that's why that didn't score particularly well.
Okay.
Then I have run a VO2 max on you. So this is also thrilling. I can feel the palpable excitement. So for those who don't know, VO2 max is a measurement of cardiovascular fitness or what we call cardiorespiratory fitness. I did a very nice method on you. I didn't do the mean one.
Not the one where you have to put the mask on and run for 2 hours.
Very 1980s.
Horrendous.
Yeah, so I'm bringing advanced tech to the party.
Yeah.
So we've done a sub-maximal indirect VO2 max, which gives us a great idea of how cardiovascularly fit you are. And again, that hasn't been your area of focus, right?
No.
You're a machine on the weights.
Machine on the weight. All I want to do is lift, be as strong as I can, and be able to hurt people. That's me. Happy. That's all I ask for. I don't need cardiovascular. I just need to be a weapon. That's exactly.
Oh, again, I love it. It's a t-shirt slogan. You know, but that skill is also ties into, again, incredible sporting performance. That cardio might have been a key piece of what you call as your sporting limitation. Yeah. I'm interested in cardio because this type of fitness probably has the biggest benefit to how energized someone might feel.
Okay.
Your quality of your immune system. And this VO2 max, which often was used for like elite footballers and rugby players to see if they'd been naughty off season, is actually the single best predictor of life expectancy. So I've measured, well, we've got time. We've got time on our side here. We know from a VO2 max point of view, huge study, 155,000 people found that if I increase your VO2 max by 1 milliliter, that's 45 extra days on the planet.
Oh, shit.
So that's the sort of longevity piece. On a pool piece, is this can help with immune system, this helps with sleep, this helps with all those things. So I want a result of VO2 max more than 32 milliliters per kilogram.
Yeah.
I'd love a result above 40. If you're a really good cardio athlete, we're sort of 45 moving up into the 50s.
Okay.
And we've got you on the cusp there with a result of 39.
I'll have it.
I would have it. I would have it.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I
not...
thought you were going to hit me. This is your life. You're not going to make it out the fucking room. You're dead as you go. Jesus, Mary, you had me shit myself there for fucking... You're like so full.
It's the reveal. The reveal.
Jesus,
Listen, I'm very pleased. You know, you're not, no one, we cannot rebrand you as a cardio athlete.
No worries.
But for your mass,
Yeah.
that's not a bad result
Can
at
I
all.
ask you again? Did you say so it's 39 and what did you say? So 40?
I like 40.
Okay.
And again, the real data is if lower is a problem. So below 32, we see increased risk of certain health conditions. It's a game of am I fit enough to do the life I want to lead? I think your reduced resting heart rate, your increased capacity in jiu-jitsu, these are all clear markers you've increased your cardiorespiratory fitness. Yeah. So we don't need a measurement to know what we already know. That result, though, however, is, again, particularly from 38, you're in this weird window where everything's going to try and go downhill.
Okay.
And so you got to work a little harder every year now to keep what you've got.
Keep it up, yeah.
So that figure tries to drop by 10% per decade. So for you to stay at 39, you've got to work harder next year and again.
I understand.
But what we've also got to bear in mind, Paul, it's probably rising. Right, it's probably going up all the time.
Yeah,
as you're
getting fitter.
Yeah. And from a cardio point of view, do you feel a benefit from? You obviously hate running. You're sort of anti-running.
Yeah. No, I just don't.
I'm going to sell you running now.
I noticed it. I don't, because I've done it my whole life.
Yeah.
I was forced to do it, and I think in football, I think I was like 88 kilo playing football, and there's lads 54 kilo, both have the same hearts, but the manager shouted at me to keep up with this fella, and I was like, I'm never keeping up with him. But I just remember just so much running. Then when I went to rugby, it was less running than football, so I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yes,
I just have to sprint 8 times. But then when that finished, I was like, I've ran so much.
Yeah.
I bloody hate fart legs, all the pre-season. I'm like, I am never running again. So that's why now, I think, remember in lockdown, people were doing that 3K.
Yeah.
Did that 3K, nearly died.
I know, wow.
I think it was a 5K. I made a 3K. I was like, hey, that's enough. Me bleeding legs and all burning. I was like, no way. But yeah, so I just think, and I remember the next time I went running, it was nicer and nicer. Yes. And I did a program on TV, and I had to do the Spartan race.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I was like, oh Jesus, I'm gonna have to run. So I was caning myself to do it. And it does get easier.
It does. It doesn't have to be running. I think when running's been a punishment, a lot of people, they hated running because at school, fartlek you mentioned is speed play in Swedish. And it's these intervals that create this horrible acidic feeling and discomfort. But running for joy, running for social connection is a growing area. But it doesn't have to be running.
Clubs.
But I love run clubs, because they're giving people the opportunity to improve this capacity whilst connecting with others, and again, if you recharge in the presence of others, then that's a rock star move.
Yeah.
I think within this isn't a cry for running. Anything that elevates your heart rate, it could be a swim, it could be a cycle, it could be again a walk outside, is an area of consideration. Okay. 2 parts: 1, the higher that level, the more potential energy you can manufacture. 2, it's going to get worse year on year. 3, it's a very quick way of getting physiological recovery into your system.
Is jiu-jitsu not one of them things? I know gym isn't, because I don't, but I always because I use jiu-jitsu and gym and judo as my cardio. I'm bollocksed.
If you're bollocksed, then it's definitely enough. The question there is whether it's all at high intensity or there's enough of that low intensity work.
I can make it. I do it my intensity, but then sometimes judo is fucking high as hell because somebody's trying to throw you.
Yes.
So it's fucking like you're
getting
hard.
killed. And I think it would be safe to say it is enough, and that figure's rising. And the point when it stops rising, you'd consider other things.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd be more interested from a data point of view in getting little bursts of movement in than turning you back into a runner when that relationship's been destroyed by professional sport. It's like a traumatic, recurrence. I could feel it. But that area again is when you look at good cardio athletes, they don't weigh 100 kgs, right?
No.
Because you're delivering to 100 kilograms.
Exactly.
So, that result, the reveal was, we're pleased with you.
Yeah,
well
right,
done.
Yeah,
What a
right,
ledge.
thank you.
So, across the three areas, I think from a total point of view, you're at 78. I love that. So we're not trying to fix a problem here.
No.
I think where you'll probably know is that creative process must be energy demanding.
Oh yeah, it's awful. But I think because I have the other two, like we have in the office, I'm a bit like, we're done. Are we done? And then they're like, we have more. I was like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
So I always have this thing of kind of 3 hours, 9 till 12. And then I'm not doing anything. And then it's family time or something. Or
beautiful.
Yeah. I just cut it there. But then I know I'm always checking and thinking and checking. And then I want to do a video, so then I'll tell them, and they're like, "We're off now." But you know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah, it's just constant. It's constant, but I don't like. I love it. So it's not a.
It's not a burden.
Yeah, it's not a burden.
It's not a burden. It's just something that you would watch an eye on. Is there detachment? Is there a break from the tech?
Never.
It's again, if you want to go to that next level, or you find yourself getting tired, that's a tool in the toolkit.
Yeah.
If you look at what is truly unwinding that feeds you in those last 90 minutes, could it be more reading and learning versus technology and that attachment? Can you let go of the idea you need to listen for the challenge, and the challenge comes to you?
Yeah.
And and theoretically, can you build in more little bursts of physical activity that just
the walks,
that just separates all your training from purposeful to just a bit more, relaxed and part of your routine? And if you sat down and ate meals slowly, you might see calm come from that as well.
I eat very, very slowly. I think it's I'm always watching something.
Okay.
So
that probably not the speed, more the consciousness.
Yeah.
So that's good. Of all those things, which one might be the most likely to implement? And you don't have to do any of them, Paul. You've not signed
I'd
anything.
probably be able to touch on some of them. Yeah, my miss keeps on talking about going on walks.
Yes, she's right.
I might join her for one or two now around the park. So yeah, I could definitely do them. It's most of the time when she's like walk, I'm just like, for what?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. But if it makes her feel nice, I'll go on me walks around the park. And I think it might be impossible for me to switch off when my daughter's in the room.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like, as a protector, I know you've got to. What's wrong with you? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I don't know. But the other ones, I do feel like I could get the walking definitely done for sure.
Brilliant.
Get that up, and then the food. Just I might even sometimes let my daughter have her iPad when she's watching. So I might have to get rid of that as well.
I would say there's a real challenge to children with the light, the connectivity, and in America we're seeing social media trying to be classified as a potential, again, health risk similar to cigarettes, particularly for people under the age of 14, where their frontal lobe hasn't built sufficient capacity to work out how to not be addicted.
Okay, right.
So an interesting area. And again, I say that the content is great and alleviates and it energizes. If it's part of our decompression at the wrong time of day, then it may not have that effect.
I get you.
But you bring levity.
Keep watching mine.
Yeah.
10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Not all content is equal. I tell you, you help me sleep. You help me sleep, because I might have had a traumatic day of dealing with of high profile celebrities, but then I'd see your. I see your and it takes me out of myself.
Yeah.
It clicks me out of myself, and that and the ludicrous of it. I use that word again because it's so great to take a step back and realize how silly so much of life is.
It's the stupidest thing ever.
It is. Oh. So I think in many ways, you are bringing a huge well-being intervention to lots of people, Paul, and I value it enormously.
I do. I get some lovely messages from people, some massive. So I know something's doing it right, and anyway, something's going right.
So we've got 78, Paul Olima.
Yeah.
Again, content creator, athlete.
I might go 65
father.
now after 40.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Again, I hope there's been something in there that you found useful.
100%.
Yeah, and I think again, from our perspective, it's been great for you to share some of the habits that fit into there. The Jiu-Jitsu, the incredible disciplines you have across your lifestyle. You're leading a beautiful lifestyle.
Yeah.
These are areas of potential future growth that use them when you need them.
Yeah.
But from an energy equation point of view, you're doing extremely well, and it's been a real pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute joy. Thanks,
Absolute
Paul.
Legend. What a hero.